All right, hello everybody. Congratulations for making it to the last presentation. Patrick and I were sure there was a reason they put us last, and it was going to be because there was no one in here. But we're glad to see that we got a good crowd. So Patrick is going to do most of the presentation, but I want to just do a quick introduction, and then maybe I'll help out when we get to some of the questions. So by way of introduction, I'm John Sirasula, the President and CEO of the host company, ADS Security. It was great hosting you guys this week. Thank you for coming. We really had a lot of fun helping out with putting the event together and just welcoming everyone to Nashville. Patrick is our Vice President Controller and wears a lot of hats in the company. Most significantly, he oversees our software development and IT work. And we have a very focused effort, which you're going to see some of the fruits of here in a minute, on development. What I want to say about organizational change, it was probably 4 or so years ago that we decided there were some things that we wanted to do to change our company and some areas that we really wanted to focus on and improve. And we decided there's kind of 2 angles of attack to get that done. One is kind of the traditional way that you change organization through training and setting goals and measuring and reinforcing, and it's all about changing behaviors when you want to do something different. But what we also decided was that technology today gives us an opportunity to accelerate that change much more quickly, to manage it much more closely, and to drive results a lot faster. So, for example, we're going to talk a little bit today about some of the things we've done to improve the customer relationship and the customer experience. So, the soft side of that is training technicians on customer service skills and reinforcing the behaviors that you want them to have. The technology side for us was something Patrick's going to show you in a few minutes with a feedback system for customers to get customer surveys very, very quickly after an install was done. And that gives us the opportunity to manage that process, to evaluate it, to make mid-course corrections much more quickly. And the combination of the training and kind of the soft management stuff you do and the technology helped us to get to results very, very much more quickly than we would have otherwise. And I think you're going to see from some of the tools that Patrick and his team has developed that we've taken that to every area of our company. And every area that we knew we had a problem, right? Maybe it was the sales team and pricing, right? So maybe we're spread across 15 markets in the Southeast. We might have had problems where sales guys in different markets didn't know the current price, so we changed pricing and it didn't get out and everybody had different price lists. So what you're going to find and see in what Patrick shows you is ways that we use technology to simply fix that problem so it would never come up again. And that's, I think, the strength of finding ways to marry the great technology that's available today to the goals that you each set in your organizations. So, Patrick.
All right. Thanks, John. There we go. All right. I'm going to kind of go through the timeline here, because the last 4 or 5 years is kind of a blur. So I'm going to tell you some of the things we've done to drive change at ADS Security. First of all, about 5.5 years ago, we went live with Sedona Office. For many years, we were on the old MAS platform, B32. Good, stable platform. You could bill your customers every month. You could monitor, but really you couldn't get any meaningful information out of that system, I'll say. Anything to really... You could tell how much your RMR was. You could tell if somebody was paying you. But could you tell that every day? Could you put your finger on the pulse and determine where you are for your financial performance at any period in the month? No, we couldn't. So now we can. And I'll show you some of the tools we've built to be able to know where we are every morning with our daily dashboard. Sedona Office is a great platform, I should say. It's kind of the hub. All the information feeds in and out of Sedona Office. We have the general ledger, the payables, the inventory management, the service management, and so on. You guys that were on the tour at our office on Tuesday saw this in much greater detail. June 2008, we decided we need daily information. We're tired of waiting until the end of the month. We need to be able to make decisions, do course corrections. We have 15 offices, so as you can imagine, it's tough to wrangle all that from Nashville. So we needed better tools to be able to manage what was going on for key metrics in the field. We built a daily snapshot. We were wowed by this when we first built it, and then we said, nah, we need something with better graphics. We need to be able to see every day where we stand for, say, cancellations by branch. So the red's the target, and we can see where we are at that point in the month versus our targets. Driving organizational change because they know that John and 10 other people in the company, that either sales managers, general managers, everybody's looking at this. So one, we're monitoring, we're measuring the performance better. Two, we're making sure we do today's work today, not at the end of the month. Jim back here can tell you, we have a Nashville operation. Sometimes it was a struggle to get all the billing done until the 30th or 31st of the month. No, we want to do that today. So we created metrics like days to bill. Let's make sure we're driving change. We have a target to bill an install within 3 days of completion, to bill a service ticket within 2 days. Plus it shows up here. You don't want John asking you, why is your installation revenue so low? Well, I hadn't got around to billing those jobs. Well, that's not a good answer. So this shines light on the problems, so they're not problems anymore. So back here we had cancellations. I blacked out our customer names, but any big customers that aren't paying us, red and yellow, 60 days, 90 days, hadn't paid us. Those are the only the big ones. That's 30,000, a couple of those. Receivables trend, install revenue, service revenue, RMR ads, backlog, work in process. I'm sure you guys can name 10 other metrics you want to measure, but those were the ones that we thought were most important to look at 7 or 8 o'clock every morning when the dashboard comes out. We also decided it was time to start closing some loopholes. We know we do a good job installing the systems for people, but we sometimes spend a whole lot more money than we'd like to on those systems. So we drove change by building a whole lot of custom reports. It was way more than just looking at closed jobs, but I'll focus on those. So you slice and dice closed jobs. You look for exceptions. We don't want to talk, not that we don't want to pat Jim and his guys on the back for hitting their estimates on all their jobs, but really we don't have time to deal with hundreds of jobs with our volume. So we start looking at exceptions. We wrote reports to look at, okay, let's talk about the jobs that went really well. Let's talk about the jobs that went south. So on a monthly basis, we started drilling out and looking at every closed job in the company, and we did, 600 or 700 jobs in a month. So that's why we had to start looking at just the exceptions. Any other area, receivables, we started writing custom reports to attack any issue we could find and close the loopholes. Online customer survey, so driving behavior. For a whole many years, we stuffed surveys in with the installation and the service invoices. Well, sometimes people would fill them out and mail them back to us and tell us about how good we were or how they were unsatisfied or whatever, but that took, a week or two? So John said, I think we really need to automate this. We need to figure out a way to build triggers in our system so when installations build, it automatically fires off a survey, service tickets closed, fires off a survey. So we did that. A couple years ago, we built this. We had 5 questions. We started getting information back very quickly. We could act on it. The favorite story I have about this, and John likes this one too, is we had it was a chain account customer, right, that had multiple locations. And they replied to us and said, I've asked you guys to bill me differently. I want my locations billed this way. We got the survey, and within 10 minutes, the receivables manager was on the phone and had it fixed. And guess what? Then the customer wrote a note and thanked us for how quickly, I've been trying to get that fixed for a long time, and I sent that survey in within 10 minutes. Somebody called me and fixed it. That's the change we want to drive. When we get input, whether it's good or bad, we want to make sure we respond quickly, because we'd be better off not to have the information if we're not going to respond to it. So get the information, then respond quickly and fix any issues. All right, so we thought, well, this is pretty good. We have five questions. Then we realized our response rate isn't what we want it to be. So John started reading a book. John starts reading books and listening to speakers, we're in trouble. There's some new project coming. So we said, okay, Net Promoter Score. You guys may have heard of it. It's your fans versus your detractors. What's the term? Promoters versus detractors. Yeah. It's a whole formula you go through. I won't go through the math on it. But the ticket there is ask the customer one question. How likely are you to recommend us to a friend? We rolled this out a few months ago. Our response rate, I believe, has close to doubled by asking one question. And we, not to get too technical on you, but basically we put this in the body of an email. So somebody doesn't have to go to a website and answer all these questions. It's in the body of the email. All I have to do is click, and we get our response. Now, when they click, they do have the option, after they've given us a 10, of course, to go to a website and enter comments. We don't always get the comments, but when we do, they look something like this. On time and efficient. Of course, we gave a good screen. Very friendly, responsive service on a timely basis. So John and our field managers use this tool to be able to look at all the surveys. Once again, driving behavior. We want to go in, we want to look at the surveys, we want to filter it by salesperson, we want to filter it by technician. So when Jim's in the blue shirt, second row from the back, I'll embarrass him. When Jim's doing performance evaluations, he now has the information so he can print out John Smith, the technician's surveys for the year and see his net promoter score or see all of his comments and go through it when we do our annual performance evaluations. We don't wait till the end of the year to do all this, don't worry. The salesperson, the technician, the ops manager, everybody that's tied to this job or service ticket gets a copy of this in their email as soon as the customer submits it.
Right,
John,
let me chat just a bit about that, because the most powerful, this survey system works really well, but many of you probably have survey systems that work well too. The real power in this was we set it up so that, number one, the survey goes out right after the job is done, so the customer's going to get the survey, they'll see it on their computer maybe within hours of when the install is finished or a service job. If they go in right then and type in a response, give us a grade and maybe give us some comments, as soon as they hit submit that to us, our system generates an email, and an email goes to the technician. He may be in the truck on the way to his next job. He's going to get an email that's going to say, here's what your customer thought about your install, and the salesperson too. And Jim, maybe you can talk for a minute about the impact that's had on technicians when there's that kind of transparency from the customer's reaction to their work to the organization.
A couple of things that it has done is boosted morale. And we also have a thank you note program that inspires those technicians at the end of the job to actually take a moment and handwrite a thank you note to that customer, and huge impact to them as well.
How many of those did we do last year? The handwritten thank you
Our
notes?
technicians wrote over 3,000 handwritten thank you notes to customers last year. An amazing impact that has, because nobody gets handwritten thank you notes anymore. But the reinforcement, getting that survey result back to that employee, number one, if it's a negative, if it's a comment, hey, I didn't get a yard sign, you left a mess on my carpet, whatever it is, number one, Jim and his guys can turn around quickly and address it. And if you fix that for a customer, you can really turn a bad situation into someone who's going to rave about you if you respond quickly. But that technician, when he knows that Jim and the branch manager and myself and everybody else sees that comment that he didn't clean up afterwards, very unlikely he's going to want that to happen again. And I think even more significantly, Jim mentioned the reinforcement, and it makes them very, very proud of their work when the customer says, man, Joe was awesome, he's a nice guy, he cleaned everything up, he was nice to my dog, you guys are awesome. When a guy reads that and knows that everybody in the company has seen it too, it's amazing how that will reinforce those behaviors.
And how many people will take the time to write a letter that says how great you did, versus how many people will do this, so you triple or quadruple the number of compliments that your people hear. I think it's amazing. So simple.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to read some of these handwritten letters that or notes that our technicians write. I mean, some of them are, I enjoyed meeting you and your dog Fluffy. Thanks for the bottle of water and the piece of apple pie.
Yeah.
And then John's been out and talked to some of our people in the branch, and they'll show them a picture and they'll say, that thank you note I sent that lady, the next time I went back to her house, it was hanging on a refrigerator.
Yeah.
We've had several instances where that really touched that customer, and they wanted to showcase that on the table in their house. It's unbelievable. No, we don't have it fully automated, but they hand in a copy of them or a scan of them, and they send them all to Nashville, email all of them to Nashville, and then at the end of the year, John does this random number generator So every thank you note you write, you get one entry into the drawing. And we had over 3,000 entrants last year. One guy did several hundred.
Yeah, 700.
Thank you notes himself.
Some service
What was it,
guy.
$1,000 and a trip
we-
to Nashville?
Yeah, we
President's
gave,
Club?
so we have a big annual event, so they get to come to our President's Club celebration, and we gave one of them a $1,000 check, which was a nice
And a
reinforcement.
fully expense-paid weekend in Nashville, blowout party
Yeah.
here for our President's Club.
Quick question.
Yeah.
When does that survey get sent out, though? I mean, if you're saying you get it as of, I thought that it didn't get sent out until the job was built. When is?
Yeah. So when the our technicians have laptops, so as soon as they essentially mark the job as complete, before they leave, that triggers our system to generate the email. Do they go out back at
Service
night,
tickets, they go out throughout the day. I think they batch every
6 hours
30
or
to 60
something.
hours, 30 to 60 minutes maybe. I may have misspoke earlier. The service tickets gets emailed out as soon as that ticket is closed, which happens very quickly because John said they have a laptop, service dispatcher sees it, the work's done, they can close it out. The job installation ones actually don't go out until it's billed, but we have an objective to get all our jobs billed in a couple days, so it's usually pretty quick. Sometimes if the customer's already paid us the deposit up front and the technicians already applied the parts and the labor from their field computer, it could get closed out and billed while they're on site or right after they leave the site. Yep.
Ralph?
Quick question, we're deploying Sedona Sync right now, so we're debating, do we want to push a customer to SurveyMonkey? Do we want to have it really short? What's too much, what's too little?
Yeah, so a couple thoughts on that. We developed ours in-house, so it's interconnected with Sedona, whatever the right way to describe that is.
that's good.
That is a time-consuming, expensive, and way to do it, and then you have to maintain it. The nice thing about if you use a SurveyMonkey or a service like that is you can make changes much easier. But we have the resources, and we think it was worth it to do it the way we did it. We get lots of good reports and things like that. But don't get too wrapped up in the technology part of it. You don't have to do this yourself. There are plenty of resources, and SurveyMonkey is a great one. There's others too. If you can find, I think the key is doing it fast. Don't wait 6 months to have the time to develop it in-house if you can get it out faster.
Daniel Oppenheim at DGA in Manhattan, he has a very good resource for that where they did something very similar with an online tool. Yeah.
We're struggling with capturing the email addresses of our clientele. At what point do you do that for legacy customers?
For a legacy customer, anytime we have communication with them. So if Jim's service people are talking to them, if we're making an inside sales call, whatever, any
Central Station.
opportunity. Central Station has a contest going right now for collecting email addresses. For a new customer, if it's residential or light commercial at least, we surely collect it at the point of sale because the electronic contract I'm about to show you can't be done unless we have the email address.
That's why I mentioned legacy specifically.
Yeah.
We're grabbing them now.
Yeah, we certainly don't have as many legacy as we do new. We're working on it.
Is there another question in the back? Yep.
Now, this one went away. This one went away, and we replaced it with a one question.
Oh.
Yep.
And it's only for the installation, it's not like for when the alarm is triggered, so if we do one every time that there's an alarm that's activated.
Yeah, John wants us to expand this into other areas of
That's
business,
next.
including
Yeah,
the monitoring.
That's a great
center.
idea.
So, but
Yes.
I know we get really good feedback on,
Yep.
our Net Promoter Score, it's important for us too, but it's every single time the alarm is activated.
It's a great idea. Yep. We're just not there yet, but that's a great idea.
We'll get on
We've
that.
also thought about doing surveys annually with all customers when it's not tied to an event. We haven't done that yet, but we're considering that.
All right. A couple years ago, we introduced a customer portal. So we wanted customers to be able to have a way to pay their bills online, submit service tickets online. Of course, when we get service tickets online, we need to respond back quickly with a call to make sure we get it scheduled and so on. So once again, driving behavior, knowing that when customers are submitting requests, we need to get on them quickly. Field computers for all techs. We had an older version of a field software that we used, say 2008, 2009. We enhanced that quite a bit with a web-based version from Sedona Office. This is not the Acer computer we use. I don't know if you could grab this picture. We use full-blown Dell laptops. We tried the little netbooks. Didn't work very well. We tried some kind of very large smartphones that kind of look like the big barcode scanner they use at Walmart. It was too bulky to carry around, so we went back to full-blown laptops with the air cards. Technicians can connect, see all their signals, send all the test signals, see any service history on the accounts. I'll show you some of that. So this is the tool we use. We can go in, see the history, any ticket detail, any parts we've added or that we need to add, any documents, so any scanned documents like the last service inspection or the blueprint or whatever, or the customer contract, whatever might be attached to this customer's account, they can see from the field.
What's your automation platform?
Sedona Office for the accounting side, and then Manitou for the Central Station side. Yep. The Manitou side, I think it may be BoldNet, or maybe they didn't. No, they access Manitou via our Citrix server. That's how they get a full-blown login to Manitou, so they can send test signals.
There's no integration between Sedona and Manitou for signal history, placing on test, things like that.
There is some integration, not on this platform, but on the desktop version that we use in the office. We can see zone list in Sedona that's feeding from Manitou. We can see signal history. We can create service tickets from Manitou that feed into Sedona.
I guess my real question is, are your technicians placing themselves on and off task, seeing their signal history without interfacing with office staff?
Yes.
And you're doing that through Manitou?
I'm sorry, I don't have a Manitou screenshot, but yes, they're logging into Manitou on their computer and doing that. They also could use the old legacy VRT phone terminal if they wanted to.
They have to switch to Sedona and close the ticket.
Yeah,
They're going between the two platforms on their laptop.
that's right, but you could launch both of them at the same time and toggle back and forth, sure. All right. I'm going to show you the screenshots here of our electronic contract, but then I'm going to fire up the iPad and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So before I get to the e-contract, this is kind of the grand finale, kind of like the fireworks show. We saved this till the end. All right.
Patrick, let me chat just for a minute about when we started this project. So we decided about 18 months, 2 years ago, that we were having a big challenge with recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining salespeople. Anybody have that problem? I mean, we're a relatively good-sized company. We've got, at the time, we probably had 60 or so salespeople. And we were hiring a lot of folks, and our success rate just wasn't as good as we thought it should be. So we thought, hey, what are the reasons these guys aren't succeeding? And part of it was, you got to be able to, you got to get good enough, fast enough to make enough money to keep yourself in beans and rice, until you really get comfortable. And so we had to accelerate the learning curve. We wanted to accelerate the learning curve, and we thought, how could we do that? We do training, and they remember some of the stuff, but it's you forget it pretty quickly, or there's so much stuff they just get confused and they don't remember things. So we thought, why don't we create a presentation tool, an application and an iPad that's a presentation tool that will kind of, in a sense, train them as they do a presentation to a customer. So when they're doing the first 10 they do, they're walking through, and it's making sure they talk about things that they should be talking about so they don't forget to talk about a smoke detector and talk about some of the other products and services we might want them to present to customers. And the idea was, hey, if they do that over the first couple of months, they're going to get really good at it, and it's going to be a training tool for them as they use it. And that was the scope of what we thought this iPad was going to be. You're going to see how much broader it kind of blossomed since then. But that was the very limited scope that we started with.
All right, let's see here. I'll go back to that screen because I want to show you a few other things that we've done. But we have 30 minutes left in this session, so I'm going to give you the full-blown demo here.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Technology works.
I'll hold it together. Let's see. There we go. All right, so you see here we have several apps here along the bottom of the screen. I'll start with the first one we built, and a first, second, and then the latest release that came out a week or so ago. Can't show you the e-contract just yet. You have to walk through the sales presentation first. All right, so as John said, we have 15 branch offices. So you log in as a user, you pick which office you're in because some offices offer DMP, some offices offer Honeywell, some offices offer 2 gig. Some do a combination of the group. So you log into Birmingham and you're going to see DMP primary and some Honeywell secondary and so on. Jim's office is a Honeywell primary. It keeps asking me, do I want to sync? Well, what's it doing? Well, it's calling back to the Nashville office and saying, do I have any new prospects? So think about a Salesforce.com, but without the hefty monthly subscription fee. So we built this to tie right back into Sedona Office prospects. So if anybody in the company enters a prospect in, it feeds down to this iPad. If I make changes here, and you see I test this thing a lot, so that's why all of mine say test, so they know it's not real when it flows through the electronic contract. Let's use this one. This is all the prospect information fed down from Sedona Office. I can go in and make changes to this if I need to. I can change my prospect status, the source of where it came from, the status, the temperature, cold, warm, hot, so on. So one of the behaviors we wanted to change was, salespeople shouldn't really be in the office. Salespeople should be out in the field selling, right? And the problem we were having was they were having to come back to the office to update their prospects because we were paying money for advertising in different places, and we want them to manage the prospects so we can see close rates. So we said, okay, let's build this into the iPad. So we built prospect management. Once we are ready to, let me back up. One of the things we built into here is a soft ping credit. So no more after-the-fact conversations with the customer after I've sold you. I'm sorry, sir, your credit's not what it needs to be. We're going to need 100% down payment. And that's the next day. You're having to go out and you look unprofessional. So we built soft ping into here. You don't have to know their social security number or date of birth, but if you do, it's even better. You know name and their address, and you can do a soft ping. You don't have to have credit authorization to do that because it's not actually showing up as a full-blown credit report. It's coming back and showing you red is bad, silver's okay, gold is great, and platinum is like off the charts. So you're running credit here, maybe even the day before you go out and visit with the customer. So you know what you're dealing with and how much upfront money you're going to have to ask for. All right, so we're going to convert that to a proposal. It's going to be a residential proposal. And I'm going to go in here, I'm going to pick which package. So is this Honeywell, a 2 gig, a DMP? For my DMP friend back here, we'll pick DMP. This is a new system, or is it a takeover? So there's different options, there's different price points, there's different parts that you want to make available for all these. We'll do a new system, and I'm going to leave this as a classic house. I could change the background throughout my sales presentation if I was in a business, or if I was in a more modern house, so we'll leave it for classic for now. It's fed all the information downstream from prospects into this, minimize data entry, 1 for changing behaviors to be more efficient, and 2 to minimize risk of error. We pull all the data downstream, so when we get to the e-contract, there's just a little bit we need to fill out. We've already gathered a lot of information. Any proposal notes you'd like to make, I'll show you that later. There's a proposal summary. All right, getting right into the meat of it. Sales presentation. So you're sitting in front of the customer. You want to talk about ADS. Maybe you want to show a video about ADS. Yeah, sorry.
Are your top priorities, but you also want to protect your property and save on energy costs. Now, you can live with the confidence that comes from having an ADS system in your home. ADS is a local company that understands your needs. Our knowledgeable representatives will design the best possible system to protect you and your family. We will show you how you can control your home even when you can't be there. Identity protection, live remote video, and medical alert monitoring are just some of the other services we offer to ensure that you are living with complete peace of mind. ADS services are monitored round the clock by our certified monitoring center, providing the most rapid response time in the industry. We keep you informed and can even send an alert to your computer or mobile phone. We have been providing award-winning service for over 20 years. Welcome to the future of home control and security. At ADS, we protect what you treasure most.
All right, so there's a collection of videos inside this app. I won't make you listen to all of them. To John's point about sales training and getting people up to speed, maybe the salesperson never uses that in front of the customer. And that's okay too, because as a new person, they need to learn about ADS. They need to learn here on the next couple screens here about the different product services we offer. The videos serve as a training tool as well as a customer tool. They get the pitch down. They learn more about how to present ADS in the fashion we would like. All right, so we could also do a slideshow. I won't go through all these, but we have a couple card stacks, we call them, in here that you could talk through. We do lifestyle assessment, try to determine, obviously, which product services we could sell. So do you have gas appliances? Well, if they check yes there, we know we need to talk about a carbon monoxide detector, right? So all these various questions. Then when we get to the next screen, any answers we've answered yes to feed over here, and you can see life safety, property protection, highlighted a little bit. So we know we need to talk about those. If we wanted to, we could watch a 30-second video. It's not quite as long as the first one. 30-second video on life safety, or we could do a card stack.
You need more hands.
Lost my mic.
Got it?
I'm not used to having this connected to a wire. In our office, we have it wireless, but that's all right. All right. Here's really where we get into designing the system. So we're in the foyer of the home. Is this where the control panel's going to be located? Well, probably not. We're probably going to put the can back in the closet somewhere, right? But in the foyer, we're going to put a keypad in. Which keypad would we like here? We have a variety of options here with the DMP. The Prox reader, the glass, whatever it might be. Let's say it's the glass one. We're going to blow it up to actual size here, not there, and we're going to hold it up to the wall and show them what it's going to look like. So we can pick all these keypads. Really what's the secret behind this is a configurator. So how many of you have dealt with, let's say, new salespeople that pick the wrong parts, that don't know which keypad works with which control panel, which motion works, and your technician gets out on the job, and they're saying, man, the salesperson did it to me again. Picked the wrong parts. Now I'm having to figure out how to pull this off. So we built this as a configurator. They're new salespeople. They don't know what works with what. They're not an operations manager. We try to guide them down the path so that they can't pick a Honeywell keypad that works with this DMP. So all the parts in here have been specifically tied back to what they're compatible to. So different rooms. So we get to this part, we always like to say, little Bobby's...
You got booby.
Fix that. Yeah, sorry. Been a long week, guys. Sorry. Little Bobby's bedroom. It's little Bobby's bedroom. We need a smoke detector, right? So here's the smoke detector. Well, there's a warning here. Smoke detectors should not be installed in kitchens or bathrooms. So back to this is a training tool. New salespeople don't know that. So all throughout the app, I won't bore you with all of it. All throughout the app, there's little tidbits of information because it's a learning tool.
Can the sales rep or you disable some of those so once they get good, some of those prompts and things go away?
Yeah, the one that I just showed you does not actually pop up every time. It's just there, and it warns you if you haven't looked at that before, you need to. So it doesn't inhibit them from moving forward, but it is there. All right, so we'll pick all the parts. You want to put some window contacts in. Oh, I didn't place the control panel. We need to place the control panel inside the basement. Which control panel are we going to pick? Well, of course, we're going to pick the one with wireless because we're not doing just old pots anymore. Everything we do, we want to do with a wireless communicator. And we're going to put the keypad here. I'm going to go ahead and put it there. Yeah, that's good enough. Oh, forgot to add a siren. So there are some of those warnings that you need, because if I'm a new person, I say, well, I didn't know I needed to add the siren. I thought that was included. Well, you have to know what room to put it in, right? All right, so I've cleared all my hurdles. I've placed all my parts. Here's some other parts you may need. Here's some, what we're here for, right? RMR. So, okay, what is ADS Anywhere? Well, I can tap on that, and it tells somebody ADS Anywhere is the iPhone controller. Whether it's DMP or it's Honeywell or 2GIG, it's all called ADS Anywhere. So throughout here, you see we're trying to change behaviors. We're trying to push people to sell CO monitoring. Maybe they're not comfortable talking about CO water monitoring. Well, we have, I'm a liar, sorry. I thought we had touch sheets under that. But yeah, here it is. Fire, carbon monoxide, and water. So instantly they're an expert in CO and water detection. It's something they may not have been comfortable talking about before. They're comfortable talking about motions and door contacts, right? Oh, I've picked a part and I didn't pick the associated RMR. I'm a new person. I didn't know I had to do that. Now it lets me go to the next screen. Service plan, we always default in. We do a summary here. Got all our parts here labeled by room, our integration module, our RMR options. So we bottom line, we're at $249 and $58 a month. I added a lot of stuff to this. The base monitoring's about $28, but I added a lot of additional services. All right, so I could email that to you if you're not ready to sign tonight, but I think we're ready to sign. So we're going to mark that as quoted. You see here, I can go in and look at my proposal summary. So I can see all those parts. If I needed to, I'm going to unquote it so I can show you this. I could go in and make adjustments. So we don't want to hit the minus sign because we want the most revenue out of this as possible, but we can. If we need to lower the price a little bit within reason to close the deal, we can. We can do that on installation revenue, RMR. We can also do a little trade-off to trade $25 of install revenue for another $1 of RMR. It's a way to get your upfront fee down, then we make it up long term. What's near and dear to a salesperson's heart but commissions, right? So here's the commission on this deal. So if I need to go in and make some adjustments, I can, but it starts chipping away at my commission. And it's real-time calculator here to make those changes. All right, so mark this.
That's driving behavior right there.
Sales agreement. Oh, I didn't provide a valid email address for the customer. Whoops. All right, bear with me here.
Well, that's an important feature.
That's important. We just talked about that,
Can't do an
right?
electronic contract without an email address.
Because we didn't want to slow down the person getting in the home to close the sale.
Yeah, the person might not be comfortable giving you the email address until you got them to that.
I'm sorry, guys. There's so
You
many.
got to unquote it, and then.
Yeah, there's so many guys named Patrick Ritter in this iPad. I don't know which one I just quoted for you. Sorry. There we go. This one should work. There we go. All right. So we're going to go through the agreement. So the first thing we do here is we put red boxes. I don't know how well you can see that here, but we have red boxes around anywhere that needs to be corrected, signed, whatever it might be. Back to change in behavior. We've wrestled with this for a long time, that the contract comes back and it all looks great except for they forgot to initial that box or they forgot to collect that information. You've been there shaking your head. and you send the salesperson 40 miles back to that customer just for one set of initials. So what we've done is we've tried to make this very easy on them, so it's highlighted where they need to enter information. And I'm sorry, for sake of time, I'm going to put some garbage data in here just to carry this through. Deposit. So what kind of deposit we're going to do? We're going to go ahead and do $200 down on this. Billing method, we've highlighted, I don't know if you can see it here on the screen, but in blue, what our preferred methods are. Terms and conditions. Of course, we hand this to the customer, and once they're done reading all the way through it, we move to the next one. All right. All the parts we've picked are all in nice order. Jim here likes that it's by room, but he also likes here on the right side, because if I had 10 smoke detectors, it would sum them all up on the right side. He wouldn't have to go through and add them. So it's the same equipment list. It's just the left side's by location, the right side's by part number. Once again, trying to save time, trying to drive efficiencies, whether it's here in front of the customer or it's back at the office in the ordering process. Here's our dispatch form. I put in my phone numbers here. I'm going to put in John first. You see I entered some bad characters, and it was smart enough that it stripped those characters out before it saved it. All right, so then the customer says, no, Patrick needs to be first. So we can go in there and we can promote him, and it moves all the data up. Once again, efficiencies. We don't want to have to sit there and rekey everything in front of the customer. We just want to promote or demote as needed. Passcode, when they call our monitoring center, I don't know, I always use don't know. I'm sure our monitoring operators hear that a lot. What's your passcode? I don't know. All right. ADS rep, so I'm going to sign here. We've gone through, this is a 5-year agreement. It has a 30-day, it has a 12-month auto renewal. If we wanted to change the term of the contract, we could do that. It's just in another piece of the app, and it would repopulate this paragraph. Notice cancellation, so anything that's face-to-face in the home, right, residential, you have to give them 3 days to change their mind. We're going to put a cancellation deadline out here, 3 days out. They're going to sign. Easy Pay form. We like Easy Pay, but I'm not going to go through this right now. We'd get their bank information, with their checking information. We'd say, okay, how much of this are you going to let us auto draft? The whole $249, or just part of it now and part of it later, or part of it now and then send me an invoice later? Actually, I do need to. If it's going to let me sign this, I need to put in some bogus data. You see, in this app, it's pulled anything downstream. So it knew my name. It pulls that in because we don't want to have to rekey all that again. ADS Anywhere, so this is the Total Connect or DMP version, the touch of on the iPhone. It's pulled all that data down. It remembered my cell phone number from a previous screen. Alarm certificate to send to the insurance company later. Sedona setup form. So to get this information in our accounting system, we have to have certain pieces of data. And in the past, our sales reps had to go back to, after they signed the contract, they had to go back to the office, they had to fill out forms or use our another quoting tool that we have in-house, a commercial quoting tool we built, to generate all these forms. So the accounting guys will let them turn their job in. Well, we want to do all this right here. So we're going to, how are we getting the deposit? Well, we're getting the deposit over ACH. All right, so it looks like I've cleared all my red fields. If I hadn't cleared them, it would show here on this top bar. Let me go back in and take something out just to show you how that works a minute. All right, so there's only one thing. It's here on the Manitou setup form that I need to fix. Well, that's
I thought of everything.
That's my new one. All right. So when I go back here, report card looks good. I don't have any deficiencies that I need to correct. if I had a Wi-Fi connection here, which I can get real quick, bear with me.
Wi-Fi's spotty in here. I couldn't get it before in this room. Oh, you got it.
What do I have to do here? Am I know?
Yeah.
Do you have a spot on your phone, John, or my phone's dead?
That'll help, yeah.
Sorry.
Change my phone.
Sorry, guys. I had to use my Wi-Fi on my phone most of the day today because the connection here was so slow, and I didn't bring my charger. So sorry, guys.
All right, try that.
I need your password here, John. Let's see. Any questions about the app while we're trying to get a connection? How do you get a copy? Is that yours, JFC iPhone?
Yeah, there's password. No, should be.
Should know. Yes. How do you get a copy? Well, we're considering some options about possibly making this available to others, but we haven't fully fleshed that out yet.
We've had a lot of requests.
We do. My friend John Jacobs back here in the green striped shirt, our E-Original person. He snuck in here on me.
Highly
And,
recommended. Did a great
Yes.
job.
Yes, we worked with E-Original. We used Dave Stang. He didn't slip in on me, at least. Dave Stang's our banker at Bank of America Chicago, and the banks want to make sure you've done these electronic contracts the right way, because that's the jewels, right? That's the collateral they're lending on. And I'm going to go ahead and commit this agreement here. Now that I have a Wi-Fi, cross my fingers it works. It's going to send a copy back to the home office 3 miles south of here. Get on the server. It's going to generate some PDF forms, which will come in my email hopefully in a minute. If all works as planned. And then I'll flip back and show you what that looks like. So it sends the information back to the server, generates the forms, instantly sends a copy to the customer with 2 copies of the notice of cancellation, because that's what the law says, right, on residential. 2 PDFs, just to be safe. Sends a copy to me as the salesperson, and sends a copy back to the home office so we can start the electronic contract approval process. And once it's fully signed off on internally by an authorized ADS officer, it then sends it to John's Data Vault in Philadelphia, SunGuard SAS 70 Data Center. Authenticated original contract, right? Yep. All right, so this is my copy as a customer. It sent this back to me. There's my dispatch form we just did. There's my beautiful signatures. So the customer version's a little smaller. Here's the 2 copies of the notice, because that's what the Federal Trade Commission says to do, so we do it. I'm going to jump back to the ADS copy here. My BCA admin just sent me my ADS copy. It's a little thicker. It has some internal setup sheets, the part sheet for Jim and his guys so they know what to order from ADI or DMP or whoever the case might be, and electronic bank draft approval and so on. So the customer version's a little skinnier, but it obviously includes all the terms and conditions, and ADS gets the full-blown copy. Yeah.
That's kind of slow. Yep, there you go.
All right, so you see here that the ADS version is actually 17 pages, includes installation information form. I'll get it out. So back to driving behavior, the technician knows that he has precisely 6.85 hours to get this job done in, because that's what we've estimated. And these are the parts, and right here on the location, he knows to install the smoke and the siren in Bobby's bedroom. That's going to wake little Bobby up. I didn't mean to put that
It's
siren
probably
in
not a
his
good
room, but
idea.
anyway.
Go with it.
Works good when he's a teenager.
That's right. That's right. All right, so let me show you what we do with that contract once it comes back to the office.
9 minutes.
9 minutes, all right. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. All right, so it's a little small. Let me talk you through what we have going on here. It's great to have an electronic contract, but how do you move that from his inbox to his inbox to his inbox for everybody to get their information? So how many of you guys, you put it in a job folder and it moves from you to you to you, right? And you're the parts guy, and you didn't know to order the parts because he let it sit on his desk for 4 days, right? Okay? So what we do, that contract I just submitted, yeah, it has my name on it, so they'll know it's not real at least. I was just thinking about that. It's already dropped in the administrative queue. So one of Jim's administrative ladies is going to grab that contract and is going to start going through and doing what she does to make sure the credit's okay and that they picked all the right parts. Well, that's a whole lot easier these days. They picked the right parts. They picked all the right RMR. Then it'll flow over here to our ops manager. That's where Jim lives right here. Jim also can approve here our general manager queue. So think about the inboxes. Well, we had to build the workflow in how to push this contract downstream. So once we've had sign-offs in these areas, made any applicable notes, it saves all those notes with the contract. Jim says, remember that there's heavy traffic getting to this location. Leave extra time. His technician's going to see that because it's going to follow through onto the technician sheet that we email out to him. Sedona and Manitou, so that's where we do our data entry. We take these forms and then load it into our systems. Next phase, we're going to automate electronic commercial contracts and make them electronic. Either sign them on the iPad or sign them in a signing room on the internet. Another next phase is to figure out how to import this directly into Sedona Office and into Manitou. Saving time, minimizing errors. What else?
Let me just say
ahead.
one thing. We talked about this earlier about using the technology to address some operational issues. We have no problems now with sales folks mispricing something because they can't. Right? We have no problems with somebody in Chattanooga using a 2-year-old price list that he didn't realize or that he had scratched out and didn't have the latest price on a certain product. So all of those issues are taken care of. Salespeople don't have to worry about it. They don't have to remember it. There's not this secret code book that a new sales guy's got to take months and months to figure out before he can effectively do his job. He can now worry about, how do I present ADS? How do I close this customer? How do I do a good job of helping them design a system, and doesn't have to worry about all that administrative kind of backup stuff because it's all done for him. That's the important part of this that we had no idea we were going to get when we started it. And to be honest with you, now that's way more valuable than the training of the new guys, although that's helpful too. We like that. But all the other benefits that we got from it far outweigh the original purpose that we had when we started designing the thing. Not to mention eliminating paperwork and speeding up the process and eliminating a lot of administrative time that we used to have.
I'm sorry, guys. I have 2 more little goodies here. Whenever I get to show and tell, I guess,
You got 5 minutes.
I got 5 minutes, then we'll take some more questions. Does anybody know what this represents? We're sitting down here at the Music City Center on 4th Avenue, and any of these purple push pins, any of the red push pins, are customers that have moved out that have an ADS system. Not that they just canceled because they didn't want service anymore. We know they moved, the business closed. It's an opportunity for a reconnect, re-sign, put online, whatever you guys might call it. We know that's good business for us, right? The equipment's already there. That's the capital investment. We're there to sign up the monitoring. So while we're pretty good, actually probably better than average, 50 to 55% of our move-outs we're able to reconnect with the new owner, we still have 5,000 of them throughout the Southeast that need to be reconnected. So back to how do we help salespeople sell more and help new people succeed, we built an app. And what this app does is tell us where all those potential reconnects are. So here we're sitting, the blue dot here on 4th, 5th, 6th Avenue. We can see here B&A truck sales over here on Hagen Street. That was canceled June of 11. Business closed. We were charging them $30 a month. And you see here on May the 9th, one of our salespeople went by there, left a card and spoke with them. So that's why that turned purple. I could add notes here. This one here, Integrated Copyright, some music company over here on 10th Avenue. Nobody's been over there to meet with them. At least they haven't on this app in the last month to 6 weeks since we rolled it out. So we expect our reconnect rate to skyrocket. We expect new salespeople to be more productive. All salespeople to be more productive because they know where the opportunities are when they're driving down the road. We also have that functionality with our Prospects app that I showed you earlier, kind of the Salesforce.com-like tool, where if you're in a neighborhood, you can poke a map and you can see, all right, who have I quoted that I haven't been able to sell yet? And they could make the most out of their time and gas money while they're in the neighborhood. All right, one more tool, I promise, and I'll take some questions. Back to salespeople not fumbling around for months trying to figure out what do we sell, what's the price sheet, where's the marketing sheet, where do I gather all this information? Sorry, this is calling back to Armory Drive here, and it's checking if there's any new videos, any new marketing sheets, any pictures of equipment that it needs to load up here. All right, so no more, iBooks is great. We used it for a couple years. The problem is people were downloading marketing slicks into iBooks and we never knew if they had the latest version. Well, now we know that we've just checked in, assuming this will finish. It's probably loading a video that we just put on there this afternoon or something. It's checking to make sure that I have the latest marketing tools in my virtual briefcase.
So they can access every marketing piece that we have and pull it up and email it to a customer or do whatever they might want to do. They don't have to worry about keeping the latest version in an office and what they have in their car that they've been driving around for 6 months that's out of date now.
And printing a 10,000 run
Yeah.
of marketing slicks, and we decide that we want to change the picture on it, and then we have to throw all of them in the trash. Or contracts.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's take some questions because we're running. Any questions about any of the tools or? Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Terry?
What are the challenges that you see in converting this to a commercial application?
Good question, Terry. So we think we're going to do our commercial quoting through our tool that we affectionately call AD-Estimate. AD-Estimate. It's an in-house tool that we built. It does fire jobs, big commercial jobs. We think we're better served by quoting that back at the office because most of those aren't one-call closes, and we already have a good tool in place. Now, what we will use this for is taking that and making it an electronic contract, feeding all the information in here, get the signature here or on a website. Yeah, we've already plowed a lot of ground on the commercial side, and we don't want to recreate the wheel on an iPad. That takes Jim getting together with the on-site estimator that we have on staff to spec it out. So, yeah, good question. What else? Terry.
So right now, this does not automatically integrate with Sedona?
It does not, but we already have the Sedona toolkit, and we are actively working to create customer, create job, and push most of the data into Sedona. There may be a few details that have to be tweaked after the fact, but at least the heavy lifting will get the job into Sedona, and then we can go in and alter it as needed. But yeah, we're hoping for 90+% of the be automated. Yes, sir.
Is it similar for your service technicians to do upgrades?
We're actually considering porting the field service app that you saw for the service tickets over to the Sedona office iPad app that they're building and giving our service techs these. Now, the downside to that is they don't have serial ports on them. You can't upload, download panels and do all that stuff. You can't run Compass and everything on them. But for service techs, we think it would be effective from a contract standpoint, because the service tech's already there, and somebody says, well, give me a cellular unit, or let's add
Yeah, smoke
something.
detector.
And they have to pull out some paper. We think service techs would do well with this tool. If Sedona gets their service module up and running soon on the iPad, we may explore it. We always like to have something in beta. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So you first showed us through the iPad how you could access your prospect list. And I thought that was in Sedona.
It is.
So that is an integration, or it's an app or something that
That's automated to Sedona. So,
log into Sedona directly?
yeah, it does a little behind-the-scenes magic to go back to Sedona. It knows who I am, and it knows which prospects to pull down for me. And every time I launch the app
Sync them.
or I push the button, it syncs.
But it's not, but the contract side, all the selecting of the equipment is separate integration through the eOriginal.
It's in-house that we built all that. It does tie into Sedona Office. Sedona Office is kind of the hub. So all the information's coming and going out of Sedona Office. And it's calling back to Sedona and saying, okay, that smoke detector, what's the current price as of this minute? Yeah, the current cost, I should say, we pay the vendor for it. And making sure that the estimates are correct. But actually pushing the data back into Sedona and make customer, make job, not yet. Yes, ma'am.
That was the question, so which piece did you go back to?
Yeah, creating the job, setting up the account in Manitou, not yet. Yeah, so the prospect piece here, it's asking me, do I want to sync? Because I haven't synced in 24 hours. A lot of salespeople are sync happy. They're out there trying to see if they got any new hot leads they need to go work. Yeah. I'm sorry, back on the Assets app here. So you can see there's 200 and some documents here, all the different flyers that we have. So if you want to see an Anywhere flyer, which is the iPhone app, you can see that. So instead of paying thousands of dollars to print all these, we're just saving them here electronically, and you can email them out. You can save these as favorites. You see down at the bottom of the star, and kind of like your iPhone, where you save your favorite phone numbers.
Can you create packets of groups of them?
Man, you're pushing it. Not yet, but great idea.
Good question, yeah.
Great idea. We've started with saving them as favorites here. We think that salespeople will want to say, there's 4 particular ones I want to send. Send them all in the same email. So we're, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I tell you something else we'd like to do is we'd like to, when we email, let's say for some strange reason we can't close the sale on site. Rare, I know, but we want to email the customer the summary of their pricing. We'd like to be able to put thumbnail pictures of all the devices that they're going to get.
There's an interesting question back to the electronic contract. So the assumption is, and it's the right assumption for residential, that they will sign it while you're there, but you just lost the ability, if they won't, to leave them one, right? Unless, could you direct them to eventually a website where they could go to sign off on the one that you did in-house?
It's in the works.
Yeah, coming.
Yeah, yes, because we're hearing, well, you know, I couldn't get him to sign tonight because he wanted to wait and talk to his wife about it. And then on Friday he calls, one-legged, right? And Friday he calls, and I have to drive all the way back out to Ernest's house to get his signature. Build me a way to be able to email it to him. So we're working on it. Sorry, we're a little behind there.
All right, I know we're pushing time with 6 o'clock on the last day. We really appreciate your attention. We'll stick around for another minute if anybody has any other questions you want to ask. But thank you. On behalf of ADS, thank you for joining us this week. On behalf of Nashville, thanks for spending money here. Please come back next year. We're going to be here again next year. We look forward to seeing you all.
Thanks, guys. There.